Welcome to another episode of Due Diligence. It's a real estate podcast, and I'm here belated by one day in studio with my now crystal clear colleague, Zoom colleague, Lee Taylor.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing, buddy?
Glad. This is working great. We've figured it out. We've got the hack, the technology hack that brings us together online.
For the first time ever, we have professional audio equipment and video linked in with the world's most popular platform for communication in the last 45 days.
In the last 45 days. And Google has come up with something. We have to kind of see what they're up to. What do they call in there? Google something.
I don't know. I don't
it's
care.
Supposed to be better.
All I want is Zoom.
All right.
And I've got a bourbon.
I do too.
Cheers, everybody.
It's happy hour.
And we're live once again here in our North Atlanta studios. And we are via the Wieloch Group at Compass, real estate professionals here in Atlanta. And we do have a special surprise today because we have a lot of colleagues in other cities across the country. And one of my favorites, Tiffany Pantozzi, she's going to correct me, is waiting in Orlando. And she wants to come in and talk real estate, talk shop with us for a few minutes. So cool. And
our first guest.
I'm going to welcome her in here in just a second. Our first guest ever on the podcast.
Hi, Tiffany.
Tiffany, what's going on?
Hi, friend.
Can you hear us?
I can. Look at that setup.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, this took painstaking hours and lots of cursing.
Yeah, 2 days, four visits to a retail
and much bourbon.
4 retail visits. No, 5. 5 visits to a retail store.
That's right. Yeah. Best Buy is tired of me.
And we didn't even need it. Yeah. I'm so glad you joined us, Tiffany. How cool are you?
Anything for Jason.
Oh, really? What's going on down there in Orlando?
Well, I just finished yelling at a client now.
Really?
Yelling.
What were you yelling at them about? Were they misbehaving?
So I think what's interesting is for people to know, not yelling, but it's just trying to get my point across as best way as possible. But I think that this is the third time in 1 week that I've had a multiple offer situation where it's becoming extremely competitive to get deals done for my clients. And 2 other properties, and these are all at different price ranges. Like one I was looking at was in the 340 range. The other one was in the 650 range. And now this one's in the 6 range as well. Multiple offer scenarios. 2 of the other deals, we lost out because they were cash buyers. They won over my client, even though my client had a strong offer, financing, but now I'm dealing with it again. So I'm trying to express that and explain that to my client. And I think that a lot of people right now think because of COVID, they're just like, oh, we're going to get all these deals and everybody wants to give away their houses. Well, that's not the case. So I'm trying to educate them and advise them and not let them miss out on something,
Listen, we're dealing with the same thing. There's this perception that you see the stock market crashing. They think real estate, goes in the same direction. Real estate markets move much slower. We've been talking about that, Lee, for weeks on the podcast. And frankly, people don't have much else to do. There's not shit to do other than, go to Capitol Grill or
well, that's what you
or
call
look at home.
Shit to do. I haven't been there. I have not been out yet. I have this observation yesterday about our numbers, though. In 30 days in Atlanta, we had over 18,000 pending or contingent sales in this metro look we were looking at, and only 15,000 something actives in that 30-day period. So that's what we're up against. We're up against a massive inventory. You say It's slow. It is a little slow, but it's also rather fast when she's dealing with what she's dealing with. The same thing, same price range in Orlando that I'm dealing with, the same problems.
Well, I think it's
like here
demand.
in Orlando, I'm pulling numbers. Like in the past 7 days, we've had 1,600 new listings come to market. We've had 1,277 deals, like properties sold, and 1,694 go pending. So there's activity, for sure. And I think that, like, I was trying to educate my client and saying, some of my strategies for what we want to put on the contract to secure it. And then once we're in contract, we could, try to maneuver a few things. And he couldn't get past the point of paying more on paper at this moment. Like, it's a property that I just know we're going to find things in inspection. I know that we're going to have to renegotiate. I know that we have an appraisal contingency. I just know we're going to get there. So I'm trying to get him to go like 15K over what he was comfortable going. And it's like, he can't get past it. He's like, I don't want to pay that. I'm like, we're not going to pay that. We just need to get the deal done on paper, and then we're going to renegotiate, because I know we're going to find things. So
you get the deal done. That's what we always talk about.
Get the deal done, and you have amortization. You know, this is all about the lowest interest rates in the world. So whatever his difference was, that extra whatever thousands of dollars you wanted him to encourage, you didn't want him to. You were encouraging him to win. That's what he was trying to do, was win, but he didn't see it from a financial standpoint as a win.
Well, that's what what Tiffany's talking about is really what we're here to do, which is keep people from being their own worst enemy and seeing the big, see the big picture.
$15,000 is a lot of money. So I hate to say that's not a lot of money, right? When you're talking about a $600,000 property, it's not, but it's, so it is and it isn't, but are you going to miss out? Like, I know that we've been looking for months. So we found an amazing property. So are you going to miss out on it over $15,000, or maybe we negotiate it down 5,000, 10,000? Like, you're going to walk away from it for that? It doesn't make sense to me. It's illogical.
If you love it, you shouldn't be walking away over that. It's not going to matter in 5 years, 10 years.
No, especially when rates are as low as they are. I think that's about $32 a month, maybe $27 a month.
Well, Tiffany, I want to tell a little bit of our audience a little bit about who you are. Lee has never met you before. Mm-hmm. Lee has been one of my longtime friends in the business. You have not met Lee because he hasn't come on one of the Compass retreats yet since we've come to Compass. And Tiffany, I got to know you starting in LA in November of 2018 when we got into this really great referral group of top professionals across the country. And so it's really, I think, it's created this amazing network of people in all markets that our team can refer to. But I was always impressed with your enthusiasm. Your social game is just off the chain. I don't know what to say.
Thank you.
I wish I could have all your followers. Can you sell them to me?
Hey, you have amazing skills that I don't have, my friend. So, everybody has their strong skills and strengths and weaknesses. But I appreciate that. I work really hard on it. It's just it's the way that I'm most comfortable marketing and drawing business. So, and connecting with people. So it works for me.
Well, tell the listeners, because they know me and Lee, who you are. Like, what's your quick 2-minute summary of your brief bio came into real estate?
Yeah, so my name is Tiffany Pantozzi, and I am a Central Florida realtor. I am the founding agent of Compass Orlando. Compass is not an official market here in Central Florida, so I have a satellite team and a satellite office. So we will be growing in the coming years into a full market, but not yet. So I'm proud to be the founding agent and lead that charge. I'm in the top 1% of all agents in Central Florida, in the top 500 actually. And I was nominated for 20 under 40 rising stars in real estate last year. I used to own my own sports license apparel company that I ended up, selling, and then deciding, hey, what's the next path for me in my career? And with my skill set, real estate sounded like a great gig. So I jumped on in, and I've been very grateful to see great success. Yeah. So I focus on social media for my marketing and my branding and to grow my business. So if you're, on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, I'm at Tiffany Pantozzi, Pantozzi. And, but yeah, I'm loving to connect with people and help in any way, share my advice and, learn from others as well.
And you were a Miami Dolphins cheerleader. You're originally from Miami, right?
I am originally from Miami, cheered for the Miami Dolphins. I was the captain on the team in Pro Bowl 2010. And then I moved to Orlando, and I actually danced for the Orlando Magic as well.
Oh, that's right. Cool. You've done it all.
Did you ever meet Don Shula?
Yes, I did, Mr. Shula.
Yeah. That's cool.
How about that?
Yeah.
Well, so if you could sum up what's going on in the Orlando market, and even maybe I know that your market is highly driven by hospitality, tourism. I mean, you want to talk about a market that's been affected or could be drastically affected by this economic downfall, it's Orlando, right?
Sure.
Hospitality was the first thing to go away and maybe the last thing to come back. So tell me, how is that defining your market, and do you see it affecting real estate significantly?
Well, I think what's interesting is that the majority of people, when they think of Orlando, they think of Disney, right? It's so natural. That's what put us on the map here in Orlando. But it's not necessarily what is like, we have so much more to offer. And before COVID happened, our statistic was that we were welcoming 1,000 new residents a week, because beyond Disney, we have a ton of infrastructure being invested in, major companies bringing their businesses here. We have a tremendous residential community that has nothing to do with Disney, because it's completely separated from the short-term rental investment communities that we have in Central Florida. So, they're very different. So in terms of my market that I focus in the, residential space, I'm very busy. Inventory is low. Buyers are out there. I have a number of buyers I'm working on right now. So it's not really, I'm not seeing any effect to it. Now, on the other side of things with the investor properties and the short-term rentals, yeah, there's an uncertainty there, because, people buy into these properties with an estimated expectation of what your rental rate is going to be for your return, right? And right now they're mostly sitting vacant. So there's
Airbnb,
a lot of uncertainty.
VRBO, things like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So they're, a lot of them are sitting vacant because people aren't able to get to Disney or come here for vacation right now. So I think there's a lot of uncertainty in that segment of the market, but I also know that it's Disney. Disney will come back. They're one of the largest, well-financed corporations in the world, right? And I can guarantee you, I'm sure they're figuring out right now how to test for COVID at the door of Disney, so they can still get you in and confirm you don't have antibodies, so they can still operate. So I'm sure they're investing in whatever they need to get back up and running, and they will, because I can tell you there's millions of people around the world that are wishing they were at Disney right now.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody stopping the Magic Kingdom.
Nope. Nope.
So that's interesting. Maybe there's a little bit of a stereotype that Orlando's economy isn't as diverse as it actually is. It sounds like it goes way beyond hospitality. So
way beyond hospitality. And that's what I think people don't realize until you come and you stay and you see. But our economy here would be, continue to thrive even without Disney. But of course, Disney is a huge driver of tourism. We welcome over 72 million visitors a year to Central Florida. So does that, trickle out to the surrounding areas of Disney? Absolutely. And a lot of other businesses are dependent on it, restaurants and shops and all these things. So absolutely there would be an effect, but Orlando has a lot of other wonderful things to offer. So it wouldn't shut us down.
Tiffany, what do you Floridians think about Georgia and us reopening the United States of America?
Listen, I think Florida's like the wild, wild west. I went to a showing yesterday and I had my gloves and my mask. And there was an agent with 8 people with him. None of them had masks. None of them had gloves. They just don't care. They were just completely didn't mind, So I don't know. I feel like Florida's right there with you.
Tiffany, have you ever studied the history of Florida real estate and how land deals were done back in the day with all that swampland y'all live on?
Well, to a certain extent, I know I looked into how Mr. Walt Disney purchased his property back in the day, which was super creative and smart as a business owner to be able to acquire so much land altogether, because everybody was always watching his every move. But are you referring to something specific?
Not really. I just know that you cover a lot of ground from Kissimmee to Lakeland. It's lakes and lakes and lakes, and that's a lot of residential sitting on, sometimes lakey properties, marshy properties, and things like that. That's kind of what the old stories are about Florida land. People buy it sight unseen.
Yeah, now we know you can get certain tests and see, you can look on the maps and figure out what the heat maps show and things like that.
Well, do you cover all the way to Lakeland and maybe over almost to the Ormond Beach, Daytona area? Do you cover that far?
No.
Okay.
So if you consider from the core of Orlando, I'll go as far north as Maitland, which is above Winter Park. and as far south as, the Kissimmee, Davenport area. I'll go all the way east out to where UCF is, and then all the way west out to Claremont. So that's very big. That's like an hour from the core of Orlando.
Yeah.
That's how spread out we are here, that you have to. But I mean, Lakeland's quite far, and like to go beyond that, I mean, it's not doesn't make sense for me to be selling property there. Yeah.
Tiffany, I feel like everyone's been asking everybody, what are you doing during quarantine? Which is one of probably 10 answers for everybody. But what are you going to do after quarantine? Where are you going to, where's the first place you're going to travel?
So the best thing I did during quarantine is I started a second business to diversify my income. So that was super productive.
What are you doing?
I'm helping pioneer a apparel company that's a virtual online franchise. Everything is sold from an app, and it's part of a network marketing company that's just starting, but it's absolutely genius. Going to be a complete industry disruptor for how we buy activewear and athleisure. So I'm helping pioneer that and bringing on partners to work with me on that. So, I mean, I have the opportunity is like endless in this business. So I'm really excited about that. And I just started it 30 days ago. It was a very small investment I had to make to get started. I've already doubled my investment, and everything's upside from here. So that was the most productive thing I've done in quarantine.
Well, and you made a personal move last week.
And I also sold my home.
Just a little side note, right?
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal. I've been extremely busy and productive during quarantine. I have not had the time to sit down and read a book, start a new craft, learn a new skill. I've been working my real estate business, which hasn't stopped, and starting a new business and selling a home and moving into a home. So yeah, that's been my life.
Lee's just so delighted to have you here on the podcast.
I am. I want to buy some yoga pants. You got any yoga pants?
Yeah, I'll send you my savvy site if you have a wife or a girlfriend.
I want your site. I need some athleisure.
I'm telling you,
love
there's
that
a lot
word.
of women out there and men that are looking for an additional stream of income. I mean, if you're furloughed, if you just lost your job, and you're like, what's next? Having an at-home business is kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So it's, to me, I mean, I'm recruiting new people that want to work with me, and by doing that, I'm also educating them and coaching them on how to build a brand and how to build a business, because this is something I know very well. So it's something that's also kind of a passion for me, is starting and launching businesses and helping other entrepreneurs. So if you know anybody looking for another stream of income, tell them to call me.
I want to see.
Who isn't,
what
right?
you got. Yeah, who isn't?
Who's not looking for another stream of income? This sounds great.
Right.
That's what I said, right? Yeah. I mean, literally, I only had to invest $1,000 to start this business, and I got tons of merchandise that I love, and I've already made doubled my money. So everything's upside from here.
That's awesome.
Lee, you could sell yoga pants. It's possible.
I know I could. I could do just a shirtless video and a pair of yoga pants, and that's going to sell like 1,000 pair.
We might need a different publicist for you, but well, listen, Tiffany, I've always been super impressed with you since I've met you. You're just a go-getter. You're on the go as well every day, and you're just killing it down in Florida in the Orlando market. And any of my friends or listeners, past clients that either are thinking of moving to Orlando, they're thinking of friends that are moving to Orlando, or they're thinking of moving away from Orlando or within Orlando. There's just all kinds of parts of this puzzle. Call Tiffany. Tiffany, how do folks get a hold of you if they want to?
Well, I have the easiest number. I got this strategically. So my phone number is 407-866-8555. And my name is Tiffany Pantozzi. And if you Google me, you'll find all my social handles. Instagram's my big thing. And it's Tiffany spelled like the jewelry, Tiffany, last name Pantozzi. So would love to connect. And you can find me on email too. It's just tiffany@tiffanypantozzi.com. So lots of ways to get in touch with me if you need me.
All right. I want one little secret from you. What are you doing on YouTube? I'll have to look, but how do you create your YouTube frequency? How do you do YouTube videos? How many do you do a week, a month, whatever? Tell me about YouTube.
So with YouTube, for me, everything I've done has been produced by like a videographer that has done it for me. I'm not as savvy as a videoer and then like editing it all up. I just don't have the time for it. And I'd rather pay somebody to do it. I think it's a better use of my time. So I haven't, everything I've done has been like pre-planned and produced and shot. I haven't produced any videos recently because I just haven't had the time for it. I've been so slammed with business. I mean, I did more in Q1 of this year than I did all of last year. So
awesome.
It's been off to a great start. I did take a lot of time and previously though to organize my YouTube page, have different channels of different categories I can plug things into. But it's been one thing that I've been wanting to do. I have a lot of content on there already, but nothing is like super new. So
mostly real estate content, not Tiffany content.
It's everything relates to real estate in my world that I put out there. So as of right now, I haven't yet done anything that's just like Tiffany branded content, which it's in the works because I've been like, I feel like I can help a lot of people with marketing strategy, branding strategy, and things like that. So I've been talking about working on a little platform that can just help everybody, no matter what business you're in, because it's something I know very well. And it's probably why I've seen such quick success in my real estate business is because of these things that I know from a marketing and branding perspective. So I am thinking about doing that, but I don't know when I'll get the time, but I will try.
I would say use Tiffany's, but there might be some copyright issue.
Yeah.
Tiffany, it was really great seeing you. It's been, when was the last time I physically saw you? Because I've talked on the phone. November in
my friend.
In Miami. That was so awesome. I enjoyed Miami. So come visit us in Atlanta, or maybe I'll come down and ride the teacups pretty soon when Disney World reopens. Or I'll see you in Austin. Maybe that's the next Compass retreat. Hopefully they'll have that in November.
We have a 2,000 person Compass, not 2,000, more than that.
15,000 in the company.
No, but we've got like a big old call next week. It's our first virtual national sales team meeting. Yeah.
So maybe I'll see you there. That's going to be hard on the eyes if that many people are on Zoom at once, but
I don't know how it's going to hold it, but that'll be cool.
Appreciate you being on, and let's catch up soon.
Yes, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Stay
awesome.
safe, stay healthy. And if you ever need me, you know how to get in touch with me now.
I do. Indeed. Yeah. I just linked you on Instagram. I look forward to getting to know you.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
All right, JW, here we are. Look, we just had our first guest.
That was great.
Isn't that cool?
Tiffany's so cool.
Tiffany.
I'll tell you, it's interesting how New York City's kind of got a mind of its own right now, but it's amazing how a lot of the stories across other markets are similar to ours right now.
Very. Well, Orlando and Atlanta are similar, but driven by completely different economic engines.
Well, according to Tiffany, though, maybe it's diversifying more now, because she kind of countered me on the whole hospitality being the main driver.
Well, there's
fastest growing city per day in the country.
That's
apparently
massive. Well, there's a lot of oranges to farm down there.
Right. A lot of nectarines, tangerines, and clementines. Maybe.
Yeah. My one friend I have two friends in Tampa. My friend in Orlando sells flooring. He's my fraternity big brother. He does flooring for apartment buildings and hotels. I got another friend who does playgrounds. He's been selling playground equipment for over 30 years. Think about it. That's just business, man.
And no, playgrounds aren't going anywhere.
They're not flooring is not sexy. Playgrounds aren't sexy. But man, that is a dependable business. You're just in it. I guarantee you he's installing playgrounds this week. Guarantee you that's a good business to be in right now.
I was going back to the whole Georgia thing, and that was one thing we've been talking about all week is, will Georgia reopening first actually kick us ahead of the curve and help us recover faster than others? So that's the grand debate. How will Georgia look a year from now, 2 years from now? Two sides of that argumently. One, we opened first, we got back up and running, we lost less small businesses. The other side of that is there some kind of major relapse?
Certain cities.
Is there going to be a spike?
Gainesville.
It's too early to tell whether it will be.
Gainesville, Georgia is spiking.
There's this doctor that posts every single day on this alumni forum from my school, Ole Miss, and
they graduate doctors from Ole Miss.
Yeah, the University of Mississippi. I am not really liking your not patriotism. You're patronizing me.
My dad's in Mississippi State.
Well, they don't have a medical school. They got an ag school. But he's been posting numbers and trends every day. And he has a very different take on it, which is that They're detecting where the case is coming from. And the majority of cases come from family to family exposure.
Yes, they do.
They come from in the home. So his thing is shelter in place is almost like perpetuating the same problem. Is it really medically speaking the best way to not spread it? Because if of that, I think it was 2/3 of the cases are originating from family to family.
Well, yeah, they are. And
within the home.
Yeah. Well, guess what?
We don't know the answer.
My stepson was at the doctor 2 days ago, and he was told he's recovering and doing better. But, he's had COVID-19 now. The diagnosis was, how many days ago? 10, 11 days ago. And it's not spread through the rest of the family yet, unless we have it and we're asymptomatic. However, none of us tested positive. So what I'm up against is, when do we test positive? Do I need to test again and again and again? Because it is a mystery disease.
You can't test every week. There's not enough capacity for that. I think
Right.
we just have, I just think at the end of the day, the truth will lie. There's 3 sides to every story.
What are the 3 sides?
Well, no, that's an old saying. There's 3 sides to every story. You've ever heard that?
I've heard 2 sides.
Professor? 3 stories, meaning there's your side, and the truth.
And the truth, yeah.
And so the truth usually lies somewhere in between.
Mm-hmm.
It probably won't be as bad as some say. It won't be CNN bad. It probably won't be Fox News good. It'll be somewhere in the middle. And we'll just have, even the doctors and scientists, nobody knows all the answers.
The PBS.
But real estate keeps moving on. And I want to move us on really quick into extended due diligence.
Sure.
And this is an opportunity to tell the audience, along with you, the prestigious Lee Taylor, real estate expert Lee Taylor, what we're going to be seeing on this show going forward, which is number one, Lee and I side by side live. We started off with the switching of the camera thing. We're done with that. Side by side on Zoom with pro audio. 2, we're going to make a really, really huge push to bring in some very interesting people across the country in the real estate profession and other relevant businesses and professions onto this show. It's going to be a blast. It's going to change the paradigm of what this podcast is. It's going to be a paradigm shift in this podcast.
Yes.
And I'm not talking like internationally.
You know I'd like to bring on?
Who?
Steve Stone, the guy who started the technology behind our podcast. He's a genius at this, and there's other people who should podcast. However, we're the best in the business, Jason, you and me.
I like that.
And we're here because of Steve Stone.
Thank you, Steve Stone at Cumulus Media.
I think I'd like to get him in here and get him on. I think he's a really good interview.
My other point,
podcasting matters now.
My other point, which Steve probably wouldn't be proud of, is I made a mistake. And because I'm not used to having the third caller on Zoom, Tiffany was unfortunately not speaking through the mic. So if you watch us live on YouTube after this, you will see Tiffany and hear her just fine. But if you listen to Apple and Spotify for this single episode, folks, Tiffany's voice will be a muted section. But
you're shitting me.
It's okay, because everybody could come and watch. Folks, Lee and I had a run to Best Buy, and we put a bunch of tech together to figure it. We cracked the code, and we have one more code to break, which is just making sure that the Apple and Spotify audio includes the voice from the computer, from the Zoom platform, which we can do. We'll run that on a separate track and merge that in for you. But in the meantime, if you for some reason tuned in to Apple and Spotify and heard this broadcast and were wondering why Tiffany's a mute, we don't have imaginary friends here at Due Diligence. Just tune in to YouTube and you can find this episode loud and clear.
Yeah.
So, but Lee, are you excited about what the future holds?
Oh, dude. I'm excited about what the future holds.
I am too. And I'm excited about this city. I'm excited about real estate. I'm excited about some amazing clients, amazing listings that we've sold this year, and just the opportunity ahead for people. And I feel really confident and positive we're going to get through Corona and have the best time ever. The best times are ahead.
The best times are ahead. We have a lot of folks that need our help, and we're available. We have plenty of opportunity ahead of us, and we just need to deploy ourselves, Jason. Get out of this podcast environment and move out into the public world. And
we do sell homes. We're not just podcasting 24/7.
Well, that's what we do. We help people buy and we help people sell.
And in the meantime, this has been another episode of Due Diligence, and Lee Taylor, myself, Jason Wieloch, real estate experts at the Wieloch Group at Compass here in Atlanta. You can find us online on this podcast, message us at our site, wielochgroup.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or email us at info@wielochgroup.com. And let us know if you have any other questions. And you can go to our website on our podcast page and enter questions to be answered every week.
Yep.
We didn't do that this week. We're sorry, but we've had a great time. We look forward to seeing you next week with more fun and real estate.
See you. That's good.